Humanity had lost the all-encompassing war it waged with machines and had surrendered itself entirely to the waste of machines. The war was over, but due to humanity's Darkstone project, the sun, which had been the sole energy source for machines, was now gone. In response, they created human fields. An average human body produces around 40 watts of energy. Machines decided to use billions of humans in a sort of coma in these fields to serve as their energy source, and this worked for a while. However, a problem arose when humans were kept in a constant state of coma. The human mind couldn't cope with emptiness, leading to brain death. Bodies couldn't generate electricity, rendering the human fields unproductive. At this point, it was necessary to create an alternative reality for the brains of the humans whose bodies were placed in the fields. Connecting human brains independently to simulation wouldn't work because a mind in isolation could instantly detect a virtual reality, reject the simulation, and experience brain death again. That's when the machines came up with the idea, connecting the brains of billions of humans to a shared network and creating a new reality within this network. When minds saw billions of independent minds in the same reality, they wouldn't have difficulty accepting it. Of course, the design of this virtual reality was crucial. If the created world in the design was too cruel, humans might not be able to endure it. So, the reality created by machines had to maximize human happiness, and only a human could know the way to make a human happy. Therefore, they chose a human as the first designer of virtual reality. They designed everything in virtual reality according to an order that made this human happy. Happiness was maximized, there was no competition, all resources were abundant. However, the human brain did not accept such a perfect world, because a world without pain seemed unnatural to human nature. Okay, it might seem illogical at first glance, but human biology had evolved over millions of years in a process of evolution to always deal with challenges. In a place where there was no difficulty or pain, happiness didn't have much meaning. People in the field started rejecting the program one by one and began to wake up. The first version of the Matrix failed for this reason. Then, the machines began to draw direct inspiration from the reality of humans. They handed over the programming of reality to a program called the Architect, and in the second version of the Matrix, they created a virtual reality where concepts like pain, evil, and unhappiness existed. This reality was based on ancient Greek mythology and, in the historical process, contained levels of good and evil that the human mind could accept this time. However, the goal was not the maximization of happiness, but rather a reality closer to the existence of opposites. The mother goddesses were like programs, embodying the mythological images of these programs. Thanks to the mythological appearance of these programs, if the programs were metric, they could easily intervene in reality without bothering to hide themselves, without distorting reality. Humans could detect and directly intervene in errors in the program. When the architect created the ancient Greek matrix, he used divinity to hide these distortions and system interventions, taking into account the error shares of the programs that control and develop the system. Now, when software controlling gravity and natural events in the matrix gave errors, this could be explained to humans with divine power. For example, when a human brain, using mental power, started to fly by bypassing the physical laws of the matrix, they were declared semi-divine and ensured to stay within the system. However, it didn't take long for this system to collapse because a world where the opposites were so separate was not suitable for human nature. The weight of moral norms in this world, where good and evil were not clearly defined by lines and events were not directed by a flow but completely controlled by the gods, became too heavy for the minds of the people. They did not feel free and lived in constant fear. This excessive fear eventually led them to distance themselves from the ordinary flow of life and question the world they lived in. People who bypassed the physical laws of the system increased, and people started to wake up again. Additionally, the excessive power given to programs to control the system led to some programs going out of control. Many entities clashed with each other. In fact, some programs attempted to disrupt the simulation and were waging war against humans who had reasons to be present here. Yes, Agent Smith was not the first in this regard. This controlled conflict, intended to be revealed using ancient myths, was progressing correctly over time. The end of the second version of the Matrix had come to this point. At this stage, the architect drew inspiration from various periods of human history to create new versions of the Matrix. For example, we can infer the existence of a Matrix created based on the medieval era from the character named Merovingi, but all of these versions eventually collapsed. Of course, after a certain point, the architect realized that relying solely on happiness maximization and moral norms to keep humans in the system and implant reality perception into the human mind was wrong. Because no matter how well he directed the signals sent to the human brain from the Matrix, ultimately, the choices made by humans and the problem of free will inevitably led to the destruction of the Matrix. He also decided to design a new program to be included in all of this. The purpose of this program was to analyze human behaviors and choices, completely imitating humans, predicting that people would react differently to even the smallest events, and accordingly, regulating the system. We recognize this program as the Oracle from the Matrix movies. Through millions of analyses conducted by the Oracle, a new Matrix was established, based on the early years of the 21st century. Taking into account the dynamics of human society in the 21st century, the program aimed to influence the human mind by utilizing the intensity and mobility of normal life. Rather than openly intervening in the system as a direct force like gods, the programs wouldn't heavily interfere with ordinary life in the shadows. All the order established within the system would appear as if it had been formed through the choices made by humans. Governments elected through democracy would be established, and individuals and programs that could potentially disrupt the system would be eliminated by new programs called agents. These agents would seemingly be affiliated with the government secret service but would operate metaphysically. In this version, they would be reset to zero and approach reality as closely as possible. The Matrix would continuously change based on the choices made by humans, and these small changes would keep humans away from the boundaries of the Matrix. Programs controlling all kinds of physical conditions, such as weather, animals, or gravity, would quickly return to the source when they malfunctioned or were replaced. If they failed to return, they would be found and deleted by the agents. In this version of the Matrix, life was no longer about moral norms, weekly prayer, or the ratio of happiness to unhappiness. The focus shifted towards people's choices and the consequences of those choices. While some would rise, others would fall. Some would commit crimes, while others would be exemplary citizens, good and bad, beautiful and ugly, just like in the real world. In this new version of the Matrix, intricately intertwined with the complexities of real-world dynamics, the system evolved, constantly undergoing subtle changes due to human choices. It was based on a more advanced era of human civilization, resembling the 21st century. As the system became more complex and intricate, using the Architect Oracle program to achieve success and seemingly minimizing mathematical errors, people continued to wake up. Despite the seemingly flawless structure mirroring the intricacies of social life and the real world, some individuals gained awareness and desired to break free. At this point, the architect realized that the increasingly complicated system would eventually start to exhibit software glitches, and individuals with higher levels of intelligence would inevitably comprehend that the Matrix was nothing more than a virtual reality. Even the smallest error in the equation could not be eliminated depending on the human brain's biology. Initially, I thought that neglecting it in the first stage could lead to salvation. However, as time passed, the number of awakened individuals increased, and a significant portion of the harvest was lost. Additionally, individuals who noticed the system were creating anomalies and bypassing the system, violating the laws of physics, even if they did not reach the awakening threshold. Inevitably, he developed a new plan to control this error margin. To Together with Sahin, they created a place in the real world called Zion. The real world was uninhabitable, so Zion had to be established in a suitable location close to the Earth's core and providing an energy source from the core. Awakened individuals would be released by machines and encouraged to go to Zion. Zion would be the central hub of artificial resistance against the machines. The goal of individuals within the system was to go about their daily personal routines in the Matrix, while those outside the system aimed to live in Zion, creating a final plan against the machines. Additionally, individuals organized outside the Matrix in Zion were allowed to enter the system, find potentially awakened individuals, and bring them out. This way, the inside of the Matrix would be cleansed much faster than the potential awakened individuals. The machines controlled the purpose, outcome, and choices, but humans believed they made their choices in the Matrix or in Zion. To make this resistance more realistic, they even created an artificial messiah for those outside the system to believe in. In movies, we call this messiah the Chosen One. Morpheus constantly directed Neo to find the Oracle while actually seeking the suitable person who would sanctify the resistance and give hope to humans against the machines' disproportionate power. When the Chosen One was found by the Oracle, they wanted him to perform extraordinary feats within the Matrix, defeat the agents, and manipulate the codes of the Matrix. Yes, the cookies that the Oracle fed Neo were actually pieces of the software code. After a certain population reached Zion, the machines would destroy it, reset the Matrix to cleanse it from program errors, and the cycle would start again for thousands of years. Each Chosen One initially believed in himself, and the resistance in Zion started anew each time. Humanity was unaware of this cycle, focusing only on the presented purpose, like mice running towards the cheese in the labyrinth. However, because the Oracle had worked with humans for thousands of years, he wanted to be permanent in the Matrix at the end of this cycle, not in Zion. He protected his powers given by the Oracle, and like humans, some programs did not want to leave the system and were afraid of returning to the source and being deleted. The programs stored within the complex Matrix system are controlled by Mello Vinci. If a program gains excessive power and goes out of control within the system, the task of eliminating it is assigned to agents or the Mayor of Encina. In essence, for those who awaken from the Matrix, the mercy of the machines is perceived as a harsh and unforgiving barren desert. In reality, accepting the truth is challenging, as the machines of the Matrix exhibit true mercy, as evident in the words of the architect during Neo's age. In fact, thousands of years after the end of the war, there are other life forms that we can accept, even though humanity cannot survive and will perish in a devastated world if set free. All of this prompts us to eventually ask philosophical questions. What is reality? Is Zion, controlled by machines, real in the real world? Or is the Matrix more real because it allows individuals to determine their purpose in their small lives? And if nothing is real, if it's all part of a completely fabricated and complex scenario, what makes a person in that scenario, whether it's me, you, or someone else, real? The definition of reality is highly debatable and confusing. According to Descartes, the only truth we can know is that if I am conducting this inquiry and thoughts in my own mind, then I exist. The statement "I think, therefore I am" signifies this. Now, I want to directly ask you, what do you think reality is? Let's compare the Matrix simulation with the real world. Both seem to have seemingly impossible physical laws. In both, we are faced with a system born out of chaos, where disorder and rules are intertwined. Good and evil are interwoven, and morality is based not on ethical norms, but on the consequences of the choices you make, subtly altering the universe. However, you are also unable to change anything. Your mind is trapped in a prison, and your brain decides everything from the taste of the food you eat to the blinking of your eyes. So, if reality is not what your brain imagines and transfers to mental prisons, what if it's not the same as what your brain constructs? What if you've surrendered to your own mind prison within a simulation, and you are just small software fragments? What are your thoughts on the grand plan of the Oracle and the breaking of this cycle?